What's good, y'all, and welcome to this week's edition of Should You Summon. As a quick reminder, Kingdom Come event, you are not required to summon 200 times if you want to get the full rewards. You can just wait for the weekly quests to turn over to the next week, and you're going to be perfectly fine. So no pressure from the event, it is just you and your decisions. And decisions, those are, we are going to go over all the banners, briefly, Nascent a bit more extensively, and overall the information, like for example the fact that we have an announced Falcia rework, which is rather big, and one slight issue with that one is I cannot yet tell you how good it is. Why is it important? Because a Falcia rework hints towards the fact that not only are we probably going to get the Falcia rework mid to end of April, but with a rework for a limited unit, it is also very likely for that unit to reappear as a banner unit. So there is a chance that we are going to get or a very significant chance that we're going to get a 200 summon April Falcia banner. And that's where the problem comes in. I can't yet quite tell you how worthwhile it's going to be. But from going over the changes, if you're interested in the changes, the video has been released for earlier today. It's on the channel. Here's the thumbnail if you're interested. So I can't quite judge it as being like a super overpowered Wukong Kigiri tier rework, but there is some interesting multipliers in there. There is some interesting factors that come into play. So it is possible for Falcia to now be very, very useful for Abyss 1, considering that she does both physical and magical and true damage, which also works on both sides, which means for April at minimum 200 summons to get a guaranteed Falcia if you've missed her, or guaranteed Falcia awakenings, with her A1 and her A3 being quite huge. So that's the Falcia side of things, which now brings us to the standard banner. So first few weeks of playing, or you just have that trigger finger, yes, you can summon on 2 times, especially Divines. Divines, do not summon Divines on non 2 times banners. It's not worth it. You're just gonna get into more pain than it's necessary. Even with the pity being 20, it's a bad idea. So if you have Divines, you can summon them here. Once again, I would caution against the fact that we are getting hints towards the new class. We are getting hints towards limited banners. We are getting towards Easter. We have this Kingdom Come event with like the Kingdom Come special gift, and also there is a very significant chance of better heroes to come than obviously a no raid up banner. You've seen the site before. We're talking about Smile 1, official third-party platform for Watch of Rams. If you want to buy W Gold, do it through here. You're going to save yourself a permanent 10%, and also getting all the rebate items at the top right there. In no way, shape or form do I tell you to spend, but if you do intend to do so, do it through here. You're going to save yourself some money, get some extra stuff. And also I do get a benefit right here with the link in the description, and also I think on the screen right here, I'm getting a 5% commission and also a, I think, first customer bonus. So if you intend to spend, if you want to help me out a bit, if you appreciate my guides, that is one way to support me. Now enough of this, let's continue. So on the note of, but once again, if you just have that trigger finger, if you want to fill out your roster, if you're new, feel free to summon there. You won't be making any mistakes. Which brings us to the Divine Summoning Special Banner. So, yeah, let's go from least important to most important. So, Kalina's kind of trash. She's in for a rework. She doesn't really work. She can't do crit damage, which means she can't scale. She doesn't need crit rate, doesn't need crit damage. Her true damage isn't high enough. She's kind of trash. Lily's actually quite huge. And this Thorny Protection is really, really fun in Gear Dungeon 2, which I'm going to like cover in a video tomorrow, preferably, maybe in 2 days. I'll have to see. A bit busy, but yeah, there's some funny stuff you can do with Thorny Protection. Lily is again still a staple when it comes to GVG. Overall, Lily is a fun healer, nothing too crazy, but mainly this prevents fatal damage is actually quite nice. Brings us to Baron. Baron's solid tank overall, but there are so many tanks in this game, be it legendaries or with rocks, now epics. he's a nice tank, right? He can give himself a shield up to 100% max HP. He can give himself unyielding for quite a long while. His awakenings are always pretty good with these increases to the duration, the 50% HP regeneration. If you've missed his skin in the Shadow Castle event, you're going to be able to get him from the current Kingdom Come event, which brings us to, let's start with Nyx. So Nyx, not only is she hot, but she's also getting a hot skin. But yeah, so you have this like Volker themed vampire skin. And if you don't have a Nyx, obviously you can't really do anything with the skin. The way you get the skin, obviously you just log in within the next 100 days for 30 times. And you're going to be able to get the skin. Now, instead of the skin, let's talk about the usefulness. So there is, I would say, three pieces of content where Nyx especially shines. Number one, gear rate 3. She's just amazing for the left side, probably the unit you can gear the worst, while still being able to deal with the left side. Then you have gear dungeon 2, where you can use your Nyx to deal with the top lane when it comes to gear dungeon 2, the top lane with the 4 enemies. It's a nice amount of damage. And then you kind of have the Pelagios Codex. Pelagios Codex Nyx is also incredibly strong, and she might even be making a comeback for the Arena 3.0, depending on how everything pans out. But overall, she's a good unit, but she's one of those units that I would like to call the, oh, that's a nice surprise unit. As in, you pull on a banner, you don't get the raid up unit, you end up with a Nyx, and you can be happy. She's that kind of unit. She's not so good that I would advise anybody to just go out of their way just to pull for a Nyx. Now, Xaris is kind of in the same space, because Xaris' kit is super funky. The way he works is he can summon summons, wow, and these summons do a crap ton of damage. He has incredible burst, especially upon first deployment, as well as triggering his first ultimate. Xaris can do ridiculous numbers of damage, but the problem with Xaris is he mainly, so not only does he lose summons every time he uses the ultimate, so the ultimate becomes less and less effective, he also loses the talent effect of first deployment, but still the amount of burst he can put out during that window is incredibly high. So there's very nice use cases for him, be it you play campaign or in arena to get a leg up on your opponent in the earlier waves, or maybe even the later ones. Though there is no real defined place where it's like, oh, I only have like 1 or 2 options. I wish I had a Xaris. I would be able to clear this piece of content so much easier. Which kind of leads to Xaris being, again, in pretty much the same category as a Nyx of, oh, that would be a pretty great unit to pull outside of the raid up unit. And I would rate him as like desirability, because he's just a fun unit to play with. No one does, it doesn't always matter that someone's like super overpowered or like super necessary for pieces of content. He's just a fun unit. He's a strong unit. He just doesn't have like a defined place where you really need him. But for example, if you still haven't cleared 121, getting to the end waves, and then for like the final wave, just putting him in while you swap out like your normal mage you use before, he's gonna completely annihilate everything there. So see him as like a deployable AoE nuke, but nothing as like a defined place of where he's necessary. Which brings us to the last banner, and that is the Invocation of Spirits. Before we get to the Invocation of Spirits calculator, how many, like when should you pull, who's how good and all that stuff, let's be brief here. It would be preferable if you decide to pull on this banner if your pity was already pretty high. The higher your pity, the less summons you need to spend here. Keep in mind it is a 0.5% chance for a legendary. It is not a 2x banner, so you have to get to a legendary first. If you cannot reach pity, do not summon here. It's that simple. It is not worth it. If, for example, you have 120 summons saved up and you have 0 pity, don't summon here. Because the worst case scenario is you go in, summon 120 times, get no legendaries, don't reach the Nascent summon, you don't get an extra unknown legendary, and you've just wasted the summon. So number 1, only summon if you can get to pity. Number 2, preferably only summon if you're closer to pity. And number 3, summon if you either have a big stockpile, a really high chance to get something good, or a desire to, for example, spend money and be like, all right, I really want an unowned unit. I don't really have the pressure of trying to save my resources. Which brings us to the calculator website. So let me show you that one real quick. So we're here on Fastidious's website, fastidious.gg/tools, or right here on the tools section. And he has these pack calculators, max summon calculators with rebate and all that good stuff. Challenges, obviously, hero list. And what we want to talk about is the Nascent Banner. So Nascent Banner right here includes most of the released unit. I think I didn't see a Malvira yet, which means Malvira wouldn't be included here. They might just update it before this banner releases. But the way this works is you just hit the remove all from pool button, and then you simply just, like, let's say for example you're missing Leia, Twin Fiend, Venoma, Araka, Hatset, Lynx, Seraphina, Alora, Kai, Yuri, Twyla, Beelzebub. Huh? Let's randomly pick these units. Hex, why not? And what you're then going to get is pretty much a chance calculator for how high are your odds of getting that specific unit. In this case, you have a 2% chance to get a Leia, you have a 2.8% chance to get a Hatset, 6.15% chance to get either Twin Fiend or Venoma. If you put all these together, you're getting like a 10% chance to get something of a Lord or Lord rarity. Still, it's not quite confirmed that these are the actual rates, so take it with a grain of salt. But this is pretty much a good idea of what you're looking at. And then, for example, here you have like a 16% chance to be either Phineas, Yuri, or Hex, or you can see 5.64%. And then most of the chances is pretty much from like the common bucket at 14%. So let's take a bit more of a like easier scenario. So let's say you're missing 5 common bucket units in this case, and then you're really looking to get let's see who's someone rare that people would be really hoping to get. Let's imagine you have everybody else, but you're really missing let's just take Falcia, right? You're really missing Falcia. If these 6 are the only ones you're missing, you're still only at a 16.67% chance to get yourself a Falcia. So keep that in mind, even though it looks like oh, I'm only like missing 5 units. At 5 units, even if every rate is equal, which is a potential chance, we don't have the rates obviously officially published, it's still a 1 in 5 of you pulling that unit. So Nascent Banner, unowned legendary, yes, it's a great way to get someone, yes, it's a very reliable way, but it is not fail safe. There is no guarantees, and especially if you have, let's say, 6 common units and you want the Hex, you're gonna notice that you have a 6% chance at Hex and a combined 93.8% chance not to be hexed. So don't get pressured into summoning. If you really want to summon, feel free to do so.